Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're an oldie but a goodie, welcome. If you're just hanging out, I'm going to talk about my Carvana experience. I know there's a lot of different views on Carvana, but I'm just going to tell you mine, and hopefully we're good. Anyways, you guys know I'm at work, so I'm logging into all my stuff on the computer. And this is real life. I am never camera ready. This is how I wake up with the the frizzy ball. I'm trying to grow my hair back out after that fiasco with the splat hair dye. Again, if you guys haven't watched my video on splat hair dye, do not use splat hair dye. I found out it is actually clothing dye. It's actually dye for your clothes that they put in there, and so it killed my hair. I had to chop my hair. So that's why it looks like it does. That's the example. That's the reason for my hair. Yada yada. My big fluff ball. Okay, so let's get to Carvana. I did a video basically kind of explaining that I have or had a 2011 Honda Accord. No, Honda CRV. Goodness, let me get some coffee in my Halloween Horror Nights mug. Still haven't been, but love the mug. So, it was overdue for an oil change. I think, you know how things can be attached to memories, right? Well, I've had my Honda when I was going through all this stuff with my ex-husband and his drug abuse and all of that. And so, it had a lot of bad mojo, whatever, jibbies, I don't know what you want to call them, attached. I think I just kind of wasn't taking care of it anymore. I just kind of, anyways, that car, that Honda, I do have to say this, it only had, for 2011, only had 149,000 something, so 150,000 miles on it. And it has gotten us back and forth to Florida with no issues. It's gotten us to driving all around Georgia when we did the Stranger Things experience stuff. So it's been a good car for us. And a good car in the fact that I never needed any major work done on it. I only needed the normal, oil change of tires, maintenance work on it. So good car. So if anyone's looking for a good car for their maybe their child is getting their first car, they need to drive, if you can find a Honda CRV, 2011 was my year, base model, didn't have anything fancy. It's a good car. I would highly recommend it to anybody. So back to the issue. So I was overdue for my oil change, and I'm not going to go into the story. Basically, I took it in for my oil change. I had them check out a knock that I was hearing in the car. They came back and said that the repair work I would need for the knocking in the car would be about $3,000. Parts, labor, the whole thing. Sorry, guys. So, I got to looking at the car. I got to thinking about the car. Yes, it's paid off. I don't have any payments on it. It is a Honda. It can go another 100,000 miles. We would still be good. But to put the work into a car of this age, and the fact that I do have some cosmetic work on it that needs to be done. I was in a couple of accidents, so it's got some dents. And they weren't any major accidents. I'm sorry, I'm looking at Chester chewing on something. They weren't any major accidents. They're like kind of little fender benders. But there is some body damage to it. And I never got the body damage fixed because I was like, well, I have a $500. Anyways, I'm not going to get into that. So, bottom line, I decided that I was going to go ahead and not get it repaired and get a new car. Get something a little newer. I deserve it. I deserve something a little newer. I've had it, my first, the only brand new, now I think about it, the only brand new car I have ever had was in 1989 Hyundai. I don't even know what it was when Hyundai first came to America and first started making selling cars in America. It was a red Hyundai gray. That was my one and only brand new car I ever had. And so I decided, let's go ahead, because at the most, I don't have money for a down payment. I'm going to have to use my car as a trade-in. Let's see what I can get. So that night, I decided I'm going to go on Carvana. So I went on Carvana and just started looking around. Well, what's nice about that, what I really liked about it, was the fact that I could just look around. I didn't have a salesman breathing down my neck, wanting to ask if I want to take it for a test drive, wanting to know if I wanted to do this, did I want to do that. Just, I could look at the car with nobody bothering me. You can go, it does a 360, you can see the outside 360, you can go into the interior, do a 360 view of the interior of the car, and so that was one pro I liked about the car, was the fact that I could just take my time looking. I also like the fact that I could just put in the VIN number of the car I wanted to do as a trade-in, and they just ask, you give them the VIN number, pulls up your car, they ask you a few questions about your car. They never asked for pictures of my car, which I found a little interesting. So they never asked for pictures, and I was like, okay. So, and I told them it was in fair condition, it needed some mechanical work, it needed body work, it does drive. That is one thing the mechanic told me. He said, you could still drive the car, this loud noise would continue, because it was some bearings that were falling out of the car. You guys, hold on a second. I gotta see what he's chewing on. Okay, back. So he said I could continue to drive the car, yada yada, but it would break down and not know when. It was, there was no knowing when the car would just break down completely. So I put in all my information about my car. I told them it was in fair condition. Of course, they won't do trade-ins on poor condition. So I went just the next. It's because it's not poor condition. It really isn't. It's got your normal wear and tear in a car of that age. So continue to look at car. So put in my information about the car. They came back and said they would give me this amount of money for my trade-in, which was what I felt fair. So they basically came back and said they'd give me $3,300 for the trade-in, which I figured if I went to another dealership, they might give me between $3,000 and $5,000. If I tried to sell it, I would feel comfortable between selling it between the $3,000 and $5,000 price, because it does need work. I wouldn't feel comfortable selling it for any more than that, knowing how much work needed to be done, the cost of the repairs that need to be done on it, if I was going to do a private sale. Then I also went, you can do financing through them. You can do your own financing, completely up to you. So since I was on the site, I figured, let me try. I've told you all before, told you youngins, credit's not a joke. Be careful. When you're young, don't go crazy. I did, and I have been paying for it now in my 50s. I've been trying to get my credit to somewhere. I've made a lot of mistakes. I'll admit it. So my credit, I'm going to tell you guys, is high 5s, low 6s. So I'm like, no matter who I go through, if I can get a loan, a financed, it's going to be a high interest rate. So I went ahead. They came back. They said, yes, they would finance me. And the way they do it is they don't say, like, okay, we'll finance you for this amount of money. They say, we will finance you at a maximum monthly payment of this. So my monthly payment that they would finance me at was $430. I said, that's nice. I'm not touching 430. I'm not touching 400. No. And Chester, hey, I know you like to explore. I know you're a puppy and you're going to explore, and that's fine, but don't go chewing anything. So I started looking. And then the other nice thing is when you see a car that you like, you can put it in like your favorites. So I did that. There are a few cars I put in my favorites. Some Fords. I really, when they first came out, the Buick Encore, when they came out, I really did like them. And the thing is, I didn't know what car I wanted, what I was looking for. So this was nice that I had the option just to look at cars. And so I put a few of my little favorites. And then we've got, I'm sure most people have in their town, those high interest rates. We'll give anybody a car, we'll put anyone in a car. We'll help you with your build up your credit, so forth. Majorly high payment car lots. And we have a couple here in town. So I contacted one of them because Mom wanted me to, even though I knew what they were. I was like, all right, I will. So I contacted them, and they had a gorgeous, because I do also like the Chevy Malibus. I've liked them since they started making them again. And they had a 2020 Chevy Malibu. It was coming like a maroon purple. Oh, it was gorgeous on their website. And so I went ahead and talked to the guy there, and he said, I was financed with them, of course, bring in your car. We'll see what we can give you as a trade-in for it. Problem is this: they're in the next town over, a good almost hour drive where 45-minute drive where this dealership was. I told my mom that the car was okay, the Honda was okay for me to drive, but my worry was, what if it locks up while driving it out there? What if I get out there and they're not able to get me the terms that I want on a loan, and then I have to turn around and drive it back? That was kind of like our thinking about it. So I made an appointment to go see them on Saturday, and this was like on Wednesday that I talked to them. And every day, 4 or 5 times a day, because this is my, I guess, ADHD, my autism, whatever I got that was never diagnosed back in the 70s, I hyper-focus on things. And all I could think about was, I need a car, and I hyper-focused on it to the point that I was looking 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day. I could be on the Carvana website for hours just looking. And sometimes I would look at the same cars over and over and over again. And, so I really liked on the Carvana website, it was a 2019 Ford Focus, kind of little hatchback thing. Contacted my mechanic, and I asked him, what did he think of this car? He said, nope, stay away from them. Just stay away. I was like, okay. He said, stay away from the Ford Fusions. And, he goes, they have lots of problems. I was like, all right. So I started looking into it to see what the issues were. Well, it seems that Ford had a class action suit against them on the Fusions and the Fiestas in like the early 2000s frame. So like from, I don't even know the years, but it had something to do with the transmission. They had major transmission issues. And so they have a class action suit, and what they ended up doing is they extended the warranty on their powertrains for these cars. But this class action suit was a couple years ago, and I was like, well, would they still honor this if the car needed a new the transmission changed out? So I contacted my Ford dealer, talked to them. They were very nice. Unfortunately, because they are just the dealership, they don't have any information. They keep saying a recall. I'm like, well, it's not a recall, yada yada. Basically, bottom line, I just stayed away from it. And then getting to think about it, I was like, well, you know what? I mean, yes, I would like to go into a Honda. I'd like to go into a Toyota. But again, the price, I said I would pay $350 would be my highest monthly payment. I know that's, for me, I guess that's about average now, isn't it? Three something for payments. People are paying for their car payments. I don't know. Anyways, the nice thing I liked about Carvana was when you go on there and you get the financing through them, they will, well, I guess it doesn't matter if you get the well, yeah, I would, okay. If you get the financing through them, they will tell you if you need to put money down to get it to your price monthly payment range that they will finance you for. So it tells you if you need money down, and usually the money down might be a delivery charge if they're delivering it. What your finance, how much you're financing, your tax, your license, it tells you all of that. It breaks it all down and tell you what your monthly payment will be. So I liked that because I could go to a car. If I liked it, I could look at it, go, nope, too high, don't want to pay that a month. And I liked that also that you could get the Carfax right there. Or there was another one, Carfax and something else you could get right away. And look at those. I liked that. You could see, have there been any, accidents, how many owners. You could see the whole history of the car, basically. The repairs, any repairs, maintenance, all of that. I liked that I could sit there and do that without someone breathing down my neck. So Friday night, oh, also too, Carvana gives your offer is good for 7 days. I didn't know what would happen after those 7 days. So on Thursday night, I again was after dinner, everything. I went and sat at the computer and was looking at cars. And at this point, I had decided that I would get a car not too old, maybe a 2019, 2018. Pay it for keep it for a couple of years. Get my work on my credit, get my credit up, and then trade it in and get a newer car with a better interest rate. And then I saw a 2016 Malibu that they had on there, and I was like, okay, it'd be $350 a month would be my payments. Again, I know it's a 2016 interest rates, blah 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 blah. We already have established that. And I contacted the dealership I had an appointment with, and I said, look, here's the situation. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm looking at this car. So, I'm looking at a Malibu with somebody else. What are the terms you can give me on the Malibu you have? Because I really wanted the Malibu they had. It was a 2020. So the girl told me all this stuff, and I was like, okay. And they outrageous. Basically, the car, bottom line, would be a monthly payment of over $400. And because they take it out of your pay. Like in my case, I get paid twice a month, every other week, and they would take the payment directly out, like $200 and something out. And I was like, well, let me go back. Technically, first she quoted me over $600. I was like, that's outrageous. That's, crazy. And then when she quoted me, I said, okay. And I said, thank you. I'll see you guys on Saturday. Then I sat and talked with Mom, and we decided that was crazy. There's just no way. $400 and something. That much money taken out of that's just, no. Especially on a car, a 2020. Now, if it was a brand new car, it'd be a different situation. If it was a 2024, 2025, it would be a whole different ball game. So I went back and I was about to buy the Malibu from Carvana. And I said, I'm going to look one more time. So I looked. And I saw this 2021 Mitsubishi Mirage. And I went, you know what? Nobody talks about Mitsubishi anymore. You don't see it on the road. You don't see it. You just don't see Mitsubishis anymore. I mean, you don't. I mean, around here we don't. I see, Hondas, Toyotas, Fords like crazy. You just don't. So I was like, this is interesting. So I read the information, and it was owned in excuse me, it was sold from Mitsubishi to Enterprise car rental company. They basically had it for about a year, and the reason they put it for auction is because it was in an accident. I think it was just a little fender bender, because the Carfax didn't show. Usually it'll show where the accident, what part of the car the accident was on, where the damage was. It'll show if it's been repaired. This was never repaired, so I'm like, okay, it had to be something little. But the fact that it was a rental company, they went ahead and sold it at auction to Carvana. So it went from Enterprise Rent-A-Car to Carvana. And then I started looking up Mitsubishi Mirages, the particular year, so on and so forth. And everything I looked up was saying that it's a subcompact, so it's in the same category as like a Toyota Yaris, the Ford Fiesta, those cars. And it was saying on the crash test, all the crash tests and all the tests that they give them, out of 5, being the highest, it was getting 4s and 4.5s. It was being said that it was one of the best cars. It's got one of the best warranties on the market right now. That was another thing. This car is still under warranty. It only has 43,000 miles on it. And the warranty is 5 years, 60,000 miles. But the powertrain warranty is 10 years, 100,000 miles. So this car is still under warranty. And I was like, okay. I'm doing the 360 on the body. I'm doing the 360 inside. I'm looking, and then they have just still pictures of the inside. I'm reading it. I'm researching about the car itself. Not, of course, that particular car, but the Mitsubishi Mirage. Everything I'm looking at is talking about it's one of the safest cars on the market. It was something out of the subcompacts, it rated number 7. I don't know how many subcompacts there are. Maybe that might be the bottom line compact, whatever. And then the payments would be $350 a month, which was the same as this 2016 Malibu. But I'm getting 1, a newer car, 2, the warranty's still in effect. And I was like, okay. Again, I can do the same situation. Keep it a couple of years, get my credit up, and then turn it in. So I said, you know what? I'm going for it. I'm going to go for it. So I basically went there. There's a button that said, purchase. I clicked the purchase button. It asked for a copy of my driver's license. It asked for a copy of my, wait a minute, my driver's license. Yeah, interesting thing is, it never asked for all this paperwork. If you went to a dealership, you gotta have your pay stubs. It didn't ask for any of that. It just said, how much do you make a month? I told them. It said, how much you gross a month? And I put in how much I grossed a month. And it came back and it said, okay. And then it said, it was the simplest thing. It asked for, because I was doing it, it was more on the trade-in that they asked for more information. Again, never asked for pictures on the trade-in. Like I said, they wanted a copy of my driver's license. They wanted a copy of the title for the Honda. And that was it, really. I'm trying to think, that was really it. And then they say, okay, what they then do, if you go on their site, you'll see cars will have a red thing on it. And it'll say purchase pending. Or you may click onto a car and it'll say car on hold. And if a car's on hold, that means someone's in the process of filling out all the purchase information. So, the car can't be sold underneath you while you're doing all the paperwork and so on and so forth. And it says when you do all the information, again, it was minimal information. Um, then it asks, do you have it? Do you want to have it deducted directly from your? Do you want auto pay? I said yes, because anyways, I said yes. I want auto pay, and then it deducted $10 off my $10 off my monthly payment. So my payments are like $248 instead of $258. I think that's what they were gonna be. Yeah, $258. So it took $10 off my monthly payment. I'm like, cool. Um, and then it says when you get done, it says, we're reviewing your paperwork, we're reviewing everything. We'll give you a call within 24 to 48 hours, or we'll contact you within 24 to 48 hours. Might have been 72. But it said, please check your emails, check your texts, so on and so forth. Also, it does ask, do you want to pick up the car or do you want it delivered? Now, we do have a dealership in the next town over. I could have driven it. It wouldn't have been as long of a drive. But I was like, in this case, I want it delivered. And so there was no fee because the dealership's here in town, basically, or within a certain mile radius. I didn't have to pay a delivery fee. And you can go in, that's the nice thing too, when you're on their website, you can put free delivery, you can click, the make, the model, the color, just everything you want in a car. I'm doing this because I'm on the side of their website. You can even put what you want your payments to be, how much you want your monthly payments to be, and it'll, only bring up cars that will be within that range. So I did that, got a phone call within 20 minutes of doing all that, and it was from the trade-in department. And the reason being is the Honda, and I won't go into that because that's a whole other story. The Honda's in my mom's name. So they needed a picture of my mom's ID. So we took a picture of mom's ID, so on, got it to them. And then they said all I needed to do was send in a copy of my insurance card showing the Mitsubishi and them as the lien holder. Did that the next day. So Friday, I got a couple more phone calls on Friday, and just because there was a problem, they couldn't read my ID. It was blurry, so I redid that. And the lady on the phone, she's basically, after that, she said, Michelle, congratulations, this Mitsubishi Mirage is yours. And I was like, okay. Simplest process ever. And that was on Friday. And it'll even tell you when your car will be delivered when you, so it'll tell you this car can be delivered by Tuesday, this car can be delivered by this day. So when you go in and you're doing the purchase, it asks you to set up a delivery date. So I set it up for Sunday because that's what they said they could do. Set up my delivery date for Sunday. Got a few more emails from them. They were in constant contact with me all weekend. Got a few more emails. Michelle, it's almost time. Make sure. Oh, that was another thing. They after the lady said, congratulations, the car is yours. Check your email. You need to sign your agreement and everything. And my agreement was there. It was all docu-signed information. And if your document has all electronic signing, so I read it all, did all my signing. So when it got delivered Sunday, they said it would be between 11 and 2. And they will call you before they deliver it. He called me about 11:15. Said he was on his way. I had it here by 12 o'clock. I was able to take it out for a test drive around my area. I could have probably done it as long as I wanted, but you know how it is. But I took it for a test drive. Everything I had researched was fine with it. It is a CVT transmission. I'm still learning about those. It does run a little loud at first, but once you get to that cruising speed, the sound kind of goes away. But I think that has something to do with the shifting of the gears that the car is doing in that transmission. Shifts just fine. Checked the outside for damages. I did see where it looks like there was some glue or something. I don't know if that's where the accident had been. Car's not perfect, and it's just got some dents. Not dents, it's got some scratches, here and there. It's gonna have that. Everything looked good. Inside's clean, inside and out. Checked it all out. Checked the blinkers. Checked everything. Everything worked just fine. signed over, my mom signed over the title. Oh, he took a picture with us holding our IDs, and we were off to the races. It was my car. He said, enjoy, have fun, and it was done. My first payment is in 30 days from the date it's delivered. So far, so good. And on that note, guys, I do have to get to work, but I will do a review of the car itself so you can see. So my experience with Carvana has been good. No issues. I really think it depends on which dealership you're dealing, which Carvana dealership you're dealing with. So guys, enjoy your day. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and I'll see you on the flip side. Bye, everybody.